Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Barry. I'm in my Tesla Model 3 2024 rear wheel drive. I focus on Tesla's full self-driving software and capabilities. We're out for a drive right now. I have 4 stops programmed into today's route, so I'm going to go ahead and press and hold this blue button here to engage Tesla FSD. And for the remainder of the route, the vehicle will drive itself without me having to intervene. Hopefully, that is the goal. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys. We have 4 stops and we're showing about 32, 33 degrees Fahrenheit right now. The Tesla is slowing down for some reason. There's a gate to get out of this community. So it slowed down, but didn't come to a 0 stop, but just slowed down very nicely for that. And now we have a stop sign and we have no traffic on our left, and it's going for it here very nicely, assuming the far right lane and then making a quick lane change here over to the left side. We'll be going through this roundabout here. It is about 1 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, so we'll have some moderate traffic. No traffic here in the roundabout, so we'll go and enter this roundabout and then exit out here. I am running version 13.2.2 for Tesla's full self-driving software. And roundabouts have been really, really good in version 13 in general. So I've had really good success with version 13. We're going to be making a left turn here at this light. So we have a left turning lane only here, and we have a left green arrow. So it's going for that very nicely. And we're going to be entering a 40-mile-per-hour zone here, and I have my FSD programmed into standard mode right now. We'll see. I'll probably move that over to hurry mode a little bit later out into the route here as we get to our second and third stop. I'll switch that over to hurry mode. So stay tuned to see how the vehicle reacts there. But thank you for all the comments in my last video as well. I think that was my most commented video by far, I think. And it was really great discussions, really good to get all different sorts of perspectives on the situation. If you haven't already checked out that video, I highly recommend you go back, take a look at it. There was a situation in which I was modifying the route in real time as FSD was driving, and I removed a stop before it got to the marker. So about maybe 0.3, 0.4 miles away from that stop, I went and clicked on edit trip, removed the stop, then click save, and it rerouted me to the next stop automatically. That caused a really severe and critical disengagement situation. Essentially, there was a car just driving on the right side. We were in a 2-lane road, and as soon as I rerouted the GPS, the FSD essentially just wanted to turn right from the far left lane, and there was a car coming up on our right lane. And if I didn't disengage, I think FSD, I'm not sure what would have happened. Again, I read through most of the comments. I got a ton, so I appreciate all the feedback. And that was a crazy situation. Some people on the video are commenting that it's not ideal to reroute the trip in real time, and then others are saying that that should be appropriate and FSD should be able to handle that. And that's exactly the types of discussions that I actually wanted to hear about and just gain others' perspective on the situation. Should FSD have the ability to modify or accommodate for a driver modifying a route in real time? I think the answer should be yes, but again, I'm not sure if it's officially written somewhere that it doesn't support it, or if there's documentation or anything like that, release notes. I don't know exactly how that will work, but the idea behind my reroute was that if you're in an unsupervised situation and there's a road closure that the map can't predict, let's say there's a blockade or construction, what have you, Tesla FSD is going to have to react to that very quickly and reroute itself in real time if there's a block on the road and the map can't predict that. So if that was an unsupervised situation and there was nobody behind the wheel in that scenario that I had encountered in my last video, I don't know what that would have looked like. I mean, again, I think FSD should have the ability to accommodate for that. And particularly one comment stood out to me from one of you guys, and you had mentioned that and I agree with this, it should really have the ability to just maintain it. So let's say I'm modifying the route, right? I edit the trip, I remove the second stop, and I save and it reroutes. FSD in that scenario really should just maintain its position for the next 10 or 15 seconds without prioritizing the fastest route first. So in that situation, it basically disregarded safety and just found the next available route to get to my new destination as quickly as possible. I don't think that was the right decision. I think when you're modifying a trip, FSD should just remain in its current stance wherever it's going for the next 15 to 30 seconds. Think of it as a buffer period, right? So you modify it, it has a buffer period of 30 seconds. It gets its bearings, it scans the environment, it updates the route, then it makes a new decision. So I thought that was actually a very interesting perspective. But again, that was some really good discussions. I highly suggest you go and take a look at that clip from the previous video and let me know what you know. Let me know what you think down in the comments below as well. I'm curious to know, is it something that FSD should support, or do you know for a fact that it doesn't? I didn't do a deep dive on it yet. I probably will. I'll probably go back and see if I could find something or dig something up on official documentation from the Tesla team or Tesla notes or something like that. And again, I haven't done a deep dive on that yet, but it was an interesting thought process, and it was quite a unique situation. So but right now you could see we're going to 4 stops in today's route. We'll see. I'm probably going to replicate modifying a trip in real time again on at least one of the stops to see how it reacts. I'm ready to take over at any time, of course. So that really kind of awoken the senses, if you will, on the last trip where if I didn't disengage, I mean, that could have been a very different situation. Although some of you guys had said that you reviewed it clip by clip, and some thoughts were that it did see the vehicle and it would have not hit it. Again, that's not a test that I want to put myself through, so I ended up disengaging, and I flagged it as a pretty critical disengagement. Another thing is, um, in that type of scenario, you, at least myself, I didn't think to send that feedback back to the Tesla team. So you know how you can send a quick voiceover or a voice note back to the Tesla team in case you have to disengage. In that type of situation, adrenaline kicked in and I disengaged it very quickly and didn't send that back. Now, a couple of you guys said that they should receive the data anyways. Um, Let me know in the comments below if anybody has information on that in terms of if you don't send a voice note back, does Tesla team have the ability to analyze, process, and understand that situation when you had to disengage, even though you didn't send anything back or flag it? I would think the answer is probably yes, but that would be a ton of data. But I think they have an automated way to traverse all of those clips and information. So definitely let me know if you have any information on that. So we're approaching our very first stop here. What I'll do is I'll let it pull into this lot. Okay, perfect. And it's making the turn into this parking lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and edit the trip, remove this stop. And then I'm going to go ahead and click done here. And it's going to reroute us to the second stop. It's thinking about it. And there we go. Now it just rerouted us to the second stop. We'll be making a left here at this right before this intersection, we'll be making a left. We obviously have this white pickup truck. So FSD is maintaining position nicely because we can't block the road. So that's nice to see. It's understanding that it can't go because it would block oncoming traffic. So we have the right of way now, nobody on our left side, nobody on the right side. FSD is going for it. This light's turning yellow, but it went for it anyways. Nice. That was awesome. Super confident. So it was made that left from the plaza, light was turning yellow, and then made that right anyways. Very, very confident. This is what I love about version 13. The confidence level on this thing is phenomenal. I mean, it is strong. It's making decisions like a human would, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, and that's another thing that I've read comments from previous videos on, and I agree. A lot of these models are trained on human patterns, and that's a positive at times, but also a big flaw at times. So, it's interesting to think about how that training actually goes and the positive aspects of training on human behavior and then the negative impacts on training on human behavior. I don't know which one's better. Could be split, could depend on the situation. There's a lot of factors at play, of course, but there's could go both ways. And then I did go through a car wash right prior to the drive, so all the camera sensors on board should be clean. I cleaned only the exterior. I did not clean the interior of the vehicle. That's another thing that I talked about on one of the previous videos is that in an unsupervised model, I don't know how the cameras will self-clean themselves in the event that there's an emergency that something, let's say, a plastic bag flies and just lands perfectly on the front camera. Maybe there's redundancy in place. You could argue that there's, another camera on board and it'll navigate to the first exit or first parking lot or, first stop safely if that happens. So it'll rely on the redundant camera. Maybe that's a possibility. But how does it remove the block or even just dirt, right? Let's say it's salty on the street in the winter, all that grime comes up. So how do you self-clean that in an unsupervised vehicle in the middle of a drive? That's an interesting thought too. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done, but I feel as if that requires not only software but hardware as well to clean that off. So pretty sure the Tesla team could come up with an idea or design. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like. But right now, you can see we're doing fairly well. We're on our way to our second stop here, going 36 and a 35, keeping up with the flow of traffic. So hope you guys are all doing well out there. I really appreciate the support. We just passed 1,500 subscribers as well. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button to stay up to date with Tesla FSD videos. And if you just want to see what I see in my area when I'm engaged with here FSD, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. I appreciate all of the support. It really does help out the channel. So we're about 1.8 miles away from that second marker. We're going to continue down this road for 1.7 miles. I'll check in with you guys once we get closer to that second marker. Okay, we're slowing down here, and FSD has its turn signal on to turn right, but it's not making a move. Okay, now it is. So it was a little bit indecisive there for a second, but ultimately did commit to turning right into this lane here. So we are about 1.2 miles away. I'll check in with you guys once we get a little bit closer. All right, so we have a bus that stopped up ahead, and FSD found an opening to move over to the left lane to pass this traffic. That is awesome to see. I love that type of decision because there's no point for us to wait in the queue behind the bus. So it made a safe lane change over to the left side, past the bus, and now it's proceeding forward. So really great decision there. I like those really smart and intelligent decisions to perform on the street here, and it's safe as well. It has to find a safe opening, of course. So we're moving forward. We're about 0.7 miles away here. All right, so we're approaching this green light, but traffic is stuck up ahead. So FSD is slowing down before moving past the intersection to make sure it has enough clearance not to block the intersection up ahead. So that was a really good choice. A little bit of traffic here at this intersection. Right after this light is where we have our second marker on the trip. So I'm going to check in with you guys once we pass this light. All right, so the light is now green. It is turning yellow, but FSD is confident in going forward. So I'm going to edit this trip and then remove this second stop, click done. And now we'll see where it's going to reroute. So it is thinking about it. It is trying to make a right into this plaza here. Oh, see that? So that was not good. I mean, that's not great just because, again, what it's doing is it's trying to reroute itself. And I need to come up with a final answer on whether or not that's appropriate to reroute or not. I still think that it should handle those situations better, but I'm not knocking that at all. I do want to point that out for the video. I'm not knocking that as a negative. again, that is myself interacting with the system. So I'm not going to count that as a negative or a flag, but just something to point out there. So we are moving on to the second stop here. I'm sorry, the third stop. And we're about 0.8 miles away. We'll be making a pretty sharp right turn up ahead. So I'll check in with you guys once we get up to that right turn. That was nice. It identified a civilian on the road there to the right side, and then it slowed down, made a bit of clearance between itself. A lot of cars here parked on the street, but so far it's doing a very good job at moving around all the obstacles here in this little suburban city. Good bit of traffic, nothing too crazy. We're making a right turn here at this light. And we do have the green arrow, so FSD should just go straight through. And it does very nicely here. We have this bus here on the right side that is moving forward from a stop. So FSD is kind of slowing down cautiously to better understand the situation. And now it's picking up speed, so that was nice. And we're moving forward now. We have about 1.4 miles until we turn left at our next stop. So I'll check in with you guys once we get to that left turn. All right, so we're just about 0.4, 0.3 miles away from turning left. I also received a lot of great feedback from you guys on the camera angles. So the wide view camera angle in the back, you guys certainly prefer over the POV style footage here. So what I'll do, and I am implementing the feedback that I got from everybody on the channel, so thank you for all the feedback on this, is the FPV POV style camera is good for unprotected left turns or right turns, or just unprotected turns in general, right? Where you can't really see the side of the vehicle. So if there are situations in which you just can't see the side of the vehicle from the from the rear wide angle camera, I will be using the POV shot and then include that in the video. And otherwise, I'll be maintaining the rear camera where you see all of the dash, the screen, and the windshield. So again, thanks for all that feedback. We're going to be making a left turn here at this light, so I'll check in with you guys once this light turns green. All right, the light is now green, so we'll be making a left turn behind this Honda CR-V. Very smooth. It is assuming the far left lane and then making a lane change over to the right. Those are things that I'm noticing that are not so human-like, because I know for a fact that at least myself, when I turn left into a road from an intersection like that, and I know that I have to be in the far right lane to make a right up ahead or something like that, I generally won't assume the far left lane and then make a change. I'll just go into the lane that I need to be in if there's nobody behind me. But I've noticed FSD, what it does is it assumes the far left lane from a left turn intersection like it did there, and then make the lane change afterwards. It does the same thing with stop signs as well. It does a 0 mile per hour stop before moving forward. And again, I don't know if the majority of people actually do that. It depends on the stop, I think, and if it's necessary or not. But a lot of times, I think people kind of just move through a stop sign going maybe 1-2 miles per hour. Nothing crazy, nothing fast, but certainly they don't typically stop at 0. FSD does. I think I would like to see that improve a little bit. I'm okay with it kind of going 1 mile per hour through the stop, because that's a very slow speed. I think sometimes when you get the 0 mile per hour stop from FSD, the vehicle behind you is kind of inching really close behind you, not anticipating that you're actually going to do a 0 mile per hour stop, because, like I said, most people don't. So you can kind of think from the vehicle's perspective behind you. It sometimes gets uncomfortably close because it's not even assuming that you're going to do a 0 mile per hour stop. So I'm going to go ahead and modify this trip now and remove this third stop. Click done. And again, I'm going to pay attention very closely here to how it reroutes. So far, so good. Assuming this far left lane. Okay. So I'm not having to intervene quite yet. Make this full screen. Okay, so that was good. That was nice. It didn't make any jerky movements. It didn't hesitate. It kind of just updated and went along its way. So it didn't have to, it didn't jerk. It didn't make any crazy movements. I didn't have to intervene. That was smooth. And that's what I would expect to see in situations like that when you're updating the route. So that handled it very well. I don't know why other times it doesn't, but that was a really classic example of what I think it should look like. So I'm glad I got that at least on camera to show you what my interpretation of the experience should be. So we're at this red light, and we'll have just about zero point 0.2 miles to go until we make, looks like we'll be making a sharp left turn right up ahead. So I'll check in with you guys once we get there. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to hurry mode now. So I just went from standard to hurry. We are making this left turn at this light right here, and the light is now turning yellow, so it's going to slow down. It responded to that very nicely, so we will wait here until we get the green light. I'll check in with you guys once the light turns green. All right, we have the green light, and FSD is going right for it. That was interesting. We didn't have the arrow, but the intersection is quite large there, so there was quite a bit of a distance between the vehicle that was oncoming and us. So it looked like FSD just went right for it. That was an interesting decision because, again, we didn't have a green arrow. Theoretically, we should have merged and waited for oncoming vehicles to pass us and then move forward. But it seemed like it was quite far. I don't know how I feel about that actually, but it did that safely nonetheless. So here we're approaching a no turn on red. So again, my favorite thing about FSD, and again, I'm being sarcastic there. I'm going to be prepared to take over. Yep, and it's going to inch forward. So I'm not going to let that make a right on red because obviously it says no turn on red. FSD can't read signs yet like that. So I had to intervene and disengage that, but I will go ahead and re-engage FSD from here. So FSD is now re-engaged. And again, that is one of my biggest pet peeves is that it cannot read those signs yet. I do believe it is on Tesla's roadmap to include processing of signs such as no turn on red. So I ultimately did have to disengage there just to ensure that I don't get a ticket if there's a red light camera there or something like that. So I'm sure that will come in time, but it is something that I'm most excited to see uh, as a new release because it's so polished now. Version 13 is so polished, as you can see. I'm having very minimal interventions here, but with stuff like that, I do have to disengage. So I'm most excited to see that come out because it will kind of enhance the experience even more. I mean, the bar is so high at this point with version 13 that if you include sign processing like no turn on red, then ultimately you really don't have to disengage in situations like that. So we'll see when that comes out. If anybody has information on that timeline, let me know down below for sure. I'm curious to know if they released anything official on when we can expect that. So we're moving straight now to our fourth and final stop. We'll be maintaining this road for about 2 miles, and then we'll be making a right turn. So I'll check in with you guys once we get to that right turn. We're about 1.3 miles ahead from that right turn, but I wanted to quickly check in and highlight the advantage of FSD in residential and suburban areas. It shines in these types of areas, in the suburbs, in residential areas. I have mentioned a few times in my previous video, and I still stand with this, is that there's a huge gap between FSD and major downtown areas. So there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to downtown city driving. I haven't really had much success. The ratio between me having to disengage in a downtown environment is much higher than in a suburban neighborhood residential area. And again, that makes sense. I'm not comparing apples to apples there. I think you can't really compare a major city to a suburban area. Even if you have city life in a suburban area, it's probably not the same scale as you would see in a major downtown area. So it makes sense, but it is something that I like to call out because If you do live or commute in a city and you want to try out FSD, or if you use FSD, in my experience, there's a big gap between what it looks like here in the residential area, suburban area, and a major city. But let me know down in the comments below if any one of you guys use FSD for your daily commute in or out of a city and how it works for you in your city. I haven't had really great luck. It's nothing detrimental, but it is something that I don't know if I would use every day if I commuted to a city every day. I think I would probably just drive myself so far. That could improve with time, of course, but I think I would just rather be in control of the vehicle. And again, that's just based off of my previous experiences and noticing what the car is trying to do in those types of environments. Too many variables in the city, right? Lots of different dynamic situations, and I just didn't feel safe here. I feel very comfortable with the car doing its own thing and letting the car make its own decisions. So, yeah, I'm curious. Let me know if you guys see otherwise in your areas, but comparatively speaking, it's definitely a much more pleasant drive here in the suburbs. And again, that makes sense. A lot less dynamic. So we're about zero point 0.4 miles away until we make this right turn to our fourth and final stop. So I'll check in with you guys once we make that turn. All right, so I can already see a potentially interesting situation up ahead. There's a Jeep Wrangler that's parked directly in the middle of the road. It does not appear to be moving, and it does not appear to have its lights on either. We are going straight per the GPS, so the light just turned green. FSD immediately put its signal on, which is nice. There's a truck to the left, and now it has an opening going around this Jeep Wrangler. Very, very nice. So that was awesome. As soon as that light turned green, FSD put its signal on immediately. So that to me means that it saw that vehicle the same time that I did up ahead and turned its signal on well in advance. As soon as that light turned green, found an opening, got into the left lane, and then moved on its way. So that was a really awesome decision. And this is what I mean. Version 13 is just shining. These types of situations and decisions are awesome. We have a rather sharp turn here. I'm not sure if the GPS has us going this way or straight. I think it wants us to go this way into the far right. Nope. Okay, it's going straight. That's fine. So it made that turn here and then handled that very nicely here. So we're going through a few stop signs here, and we'll observe the 0 mile per hour stop. FSD is slowing down because there's vehicles parked on the street here in this neighborhood residential area. Should move. Yep, it's moving over into the right now. You'll see it's going to get to 0, and now it's moving forward. So again, not a huge complaint, and definitely not impactful to the FSD experience, but it is something that I'm noticing to be a bit robotic. So moving past this truck on our right and left, two pickup trucks here, moving through those very nicely. We have another stop sign here. We'll observe another 0 mile per hour stop. As soon as it gets to 0, it's going. And we have a bit of a block in visibility. So there is a vehicle here on our right side, and it's moving now forward. So very nicely done there as well. Very cautious. It saw that vehicle approaching even after it moved through the stop sign. So it didn't blow through the stop just because it already met that 0 mile per hour standard. It moved through, identified that vehicle, and then ultimately let it pass. Here we are approaching a couple cars parked on either side again. And then we have a stop sign here. And the final stop, the marker should be towards the right side on the left. So nobody coming up on the left side or the right side, but we have vehicles parked on the street, maneuvering very nicely. And it should pretty much just drop us off anywhere here. We'll see where it decides to stop. Looks like it's stopping right here. Yep, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and engage drive, turn off the signal. And zero safety disengagement drive here. So I did have to disengage for the no turn on red. I don't really consider that to be a safety disengagement, if you will. So that was just a kind of a, no turn on red disengagement, but no safety disengagements on this route. So that was awesome to see. Let me know in the comments down below how you think FSD handled the route changes and whether or not you think that is something that FSD should handle and should be able to accommodate for. So let me know what you thought about the drive, how you think FSD reacted to the modifications of the trip and editing the trip. I really appreciate all the support, guys. If you haven't already, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button if you made it this far into the video. I really appreciate all the support and the comments. I'll definitely be posting many more videos like this as Tesla releases more and more software. We should be getting 13.2.6, I believe it is. So I'll be documenting that as well. Again, thanks for tuning into the video, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.